What's up, guys? I'm Caden with Crypto Now or Never, and welcome back to a very important update on Turbo. If you enjoy this style of content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want.
Okay, so as you guys can see, Turbo is up right around 8% in the last day, and it's up to a $256 million market cap. Now, things have finally started to get interesting for Turbo. So if you guys have been watching any of my previous Turbo content, I've been talking about how we're basically in this giant falling wedge. However, if you look at this falling wedge, we have finally had a breakout. We have finally had a candle close above this top trend line. This is huge for Turbo, and this could be the start of a breakout. Now, I always want to be crystal clear though, in order for Turbo to actually break out, we need to see Ethereum and Bitcoin break out. I don't want to sit here and tell you guys that I'm expecting a massive Turbo breakout, especially if we see Ethereum drop. Because if you look at Ethereum right now, we are still in this major consolidation. We were basically in this giant bull flag where we did start to have a breakout, but then we broke right back into the pattern. And then we started consolidating for a little while longer before we broke down out of the pattern, and then we broke right back into it. So I still believe we are basically in a giant bull flag right now. We want to see Ethereum break above the 21-day, the 50-day, and mainly the 200-day moving average, which is the yellow line right here. You can see that we've been rejected off this level many different times. This is going to be a very important level to get back above if we want to see Turbo actually confirm a breakout. But regardless, it does not change the fact that Turbo has started to break out of this falling wedge. This is a very good look. If we come over here and we look at meme coins ranked, you can see that a lot of meme coins are green over the last 24 hours and over the last week. It's interesting though, because a lot of them weren't, and I think that this 7-day time period actually just reset. Because a couple days ago, we saw everything was massively red. But if we scroll down, you can see that Turbo is currently the 160th largest crypto, and it's up about 23.8% in the last week. Now, what's interesting about Turbo is that the volume is still very good, and it usually is. Turbo's volume is currently 39.3 million. Now, granted, this volume is a lot lower than some of my previous Turbo videos. However, that's not just a Turbo issue, that's an entire market issue. Because from a ratio standpoint, you can see that Turbo still has much better volume than a lot of projects above it. Mogcoin's 12 million, Bread on Base is 16 million, Dog is 27 million, Apecoin's 26 million. A lot of these projects above it, Turbo has better volume. And if you click on Turbo, you can see that a lot of the volume is coming from Binance and HTX, the same two exchanges. Obviously, you can expect Binance to have huge volume, but it's awesome to see that HTX is always up here as well. Now, if we come over here and we take a look at the Turbo X account, they're up to 111,000 followers. And as I've been saying in pretty much all of my Turbo videos, not a whole lot has changed. They just posted 12 minutes ago, chasing sunsets, doing what you love. Nothing better than losing track of time and doing what makes you feel alive. And this is actually a very important message because a lot of people get so caught up in what is happening from a day-to-day standpoint. Ultimately, with Turbo and crypto in general, you just have to look at the bigger picture. Do you believe in crypto long-term? Do you have conviction in your plays? If you do, then there's no need to stress about the day-to-day stuff. Just stay resilient and keep grinding. At the end of the day, that's all that you can do. But I would expect there to probably be some more Turbo news after the market starts to break out. I always say this, but the reality is you don't really want to release a bunch of bullish news when the market's bleeding. And even though the market isn't necessarily bleeding right now, it's not breaking out. This little flag that Ethereum is forming could very easily break to the downside. And if that happens, then it's just going to kill any of the hype from the bullish news. Now, if we do take a look at Bitcoin though, Bitcoin is actually performing a bit better. You can see that Bitcoin has reclaimed the 21-day and the 50-day. What Bitcoin is trying to do right now is put in a higher local high. We'll see if it can break above that 110,500 level. If Bitcoin can break above this previous high, then the next resistance is the previous all-time high. This would be awesome to see for Bitcoin. I will say though, if you look at the stochastics, they're starting to get pretty overbought. This tells me that there's a decent chance that we do have a little bit more of a retracement before we see an actual breakout, and it could align with this consolidation. The reason it also wouldn't shock me is because of the weekly time frame. I've been showing you guys the weekly, but we were getting pretty overbought. However, if you look at this most recent candle, it's a bullish engulfing candle. That's actually a great look. So we'll see how this candle actually closes. And I'm not really going to go over the S&P, but if you look at the S&P, the flag is still breaking out perfectly. If you watched my market update last week, I had us drawn on this bull flag, and I was talking about how we were retesting the 21-day moving average with oversold stochastics. And you can see that this flag has broken out perfectly. If the S&P continues doing well, it's probably going to be bullish for the crypto market. At least that's been the case throughout history. But that's about it for the update today. Again, Turbo looks much better because it started to break out of the falling wedge. Definitely watch this trend line. But if you guys are interested in Turbo and you guys are interested in getting into projects super early, then I always recommend taking a look at my Discord. We're in the markets every single day and we're printing all the time. We have hit some massive gainers. Look at the all-time gainer list. 328x, 255x, 253x, 239x. The list goes on and on. So if this is the kind of community that you'd like to be a part of, you can find the link right here on my YouTube homepage. And as always, I'd love to see you guys in here. But that's about all. Let me know down in the comments how you guys are feeling about Turbo. If you found this content valuable, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.